Welcome to SAT TV News. I'm Alicia George, your presenter. In our top stories, ASP Wicks says if public's trust in police force is eroded, then society will be chaotic. New ECS ambassador challenges ACP group to be bold. Little time left to turn down the world's hate, UN says. And in sports, England's Kevin Peterson to participate in Caribbean Premier League. Details of these will follow.
The wheel of change is here at SAS. New and exciting rewards just for you. SAS customers simply pay your bill and get the new Loyalty Plus plan for free. That's 26 channels absolutely free for a limited period. Yes, you heard me, free. And if you do pay your bill, you'll have a chance to win big with SAT TV. Up to $15,000 in prizes are up for grabs. 7-inch tablets, BlackBerry smartphones, food vouchers, and much, much more. Get more from SAT TV, the people's choice. SAT terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. Friday, 28th March saw the end of the first ever sound engineering workshop organized by the Ministry of Employment, Trade, Industry and Diaspora Affairs, the Association of Music Professionals, and the Dominica Coalition of Service Industries. The ceremony, held at the Dominica State College, DSC's auditorium, awarded 36 individuals with certificates of completion.
You have acquired knowledge, you have sharpened your skills, but most importantly, I'm very hopeful that your attitudes have changed so that you no longer see this is how we do it in Dominica, but now you understand this is how we do it in the world. Nobody in the world owes us in Dominica a living. We owe it to ourselves. But if we're going to be a competitive workforce, we need to take ourselves up continuously.
He applauded the participants for investing in the training and urged them to continue to practice and evolve what they have learned.
When I ended my presentation on day one, I quoted Alvin Toffler, who says the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. From what I've been hearing, this has been your experience. In some cases, you have had to unlearn and relearn. And when you put that entire package together, you have learned.
Mr. Matthew hinted at advances in the curriculum of the Dominica State College to possibly include continuing education in sound engineering.
Dominica State College is currently in discussion on how to take you forward, how to take you to the next level, how to take you higher, so that you can walk in any region and stand tall and stand your own and say, I am competent in the world of music.
In more news, to further highlight awareness of gender-based violence, the DPPA, Dominica Planned Parenthood Association's YAM Youth Advocacy Movement, hosted a silent flash mob under the theme Loud Silence on Saturday, March 29th. Ms. St. Luke's Executive Director of the DPPA noted the idea for this initiative came to life during a retreat from the members of YAM.
We were concerned about the increase in the rise of the number of child sexual abuse cases reported, and we were also concerned in terms of HIV information, the correct information going across to people. So at that consultation, the members of YAM decided that they wanted to have flash mobs throughout the city.
They spoke out with messages written on T-shirts and marched to various locations around the city of Roseau, chanting slogans against gender-based violence.
I feel very elated and delighted to be here today. I am very proud to be part of this project. This project is one that signifies a lot in society today. We need to stamp out gender-based violence.
The Loud Silence started at the Roseau Market, then moved to the riverbank in Roseau.
I I think it's important because most times people talk and they're not really aware as to all of the information associated with the topic that they're talking about. So we're trying today to give as much statistics and as much facts as possible. So if you look at people's t-shirts, you will see the number of facts and statistics written on the shirts. So it's very important that people know what's going on. It's very important that people understand that they don't have to be silent about it. It's very important that people understand that there is something that they can do as an individual in their little corner of the world to help curb gender-based violence, to help become aware as to the issues related with HIV and AIDS.
Gender-based violence, she noted, is a significant problem in Dominica that destroys the lives of victims who must be given the appropriate support to get through the ordeal. She pointed out that persons who are subjected to such violence constantly battle psychological and emotional problems.
So it is significant. We know a number of cases are reported. We have violence perpetrated against women, we have violence perpetrated against men, and more importantly, we have now an increase of violent issues perpetrated against children. We have a lot of child sexual abuse, we have some neglect cases. So yes, it's a big issue, and I think young people doing their part to address it is very significant.
In more news, the CDPF, Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force, has been making headline news lately for all the wrong reasons. In 2012, a police officer was charged for selling a firearm owned by the government of Dominica. Another officer was suspended pending an investigation that alleged he sold a submachine gun to a known criminal, while another was charged with shooting with intent. Recently, one police officer was charged with theft, while another was charged with a sexual offense. According to Assistant Superintendent of Police Claude Wicks, this damages the morale of the police force.
So when we as officers allegedly get involved in activities that are inappropriate, it means therefore, one, it can significantly erode the confidence of the public. Remember, it's the public that we are rendering a service to. And if the public is not satisfied, for that matter, the expectations of the public are very, very high. And they expect the police, law enforcement particularly, to be above board. And if we aren't above board, it means, therefore, it comes to the point, who will guard the guards? So it is very important that we safeguard the interests of the public, and that one of the main interests is to prevent crime.
He said if the public loses trust for police officers in any country, the results will be catastrophic. ASP Wicks stated the morale of the CDPF must be sustained at all times. However, there are many factors that can depress or precipitate the morale of the force.
And it's not only in the line of inappropriate behavior, but so many things, perhaps rewards. People always look forward to be promoted, and if they aren't promoted, they feel, well, should I work? I'm one of those who believe that one ought to work as unto the Lord. I'm a typical example where you do your work, and sometimes you believe you're not rewarded in time. My message and appeal is that God has His timing in elevating you. What is important is that your work must be pleasing unto the Lord. So the police force, Mr. Larrock, has its part to play in the society. You can do what you want. The police force will remain. We would have all expired and a new generation comes. And the police force has to be there to ensure that the society is living in peace and tranquility, that those who offend are dealt with within the parameters of the law.
In accordance with the Constitution of Dominica, he noted that justice is for everyone.
A lot of allegations are being downloaded, if you like, on the police department. Police officers are involved in inappropriate behavior along with civilians, as it were. It's one thing to say that, but we've always said that it's important as well to come forth with the evidence, because without evidence, while yes, it's an allegation, while yes, it's information about a particular officer or group of officers. But at the end of the day, while we are calling to weed out those officers, but therefore, on the other hand, you need the evidence. Evidence is critical to proving your case beyond a reasonable doubt. You can't say that Constable John Brown or ASP John Brown is in criminal activity and he's associating with X, Y, and Z without anything. A court of law or a tribunal will say, hello, we have to prove our case beyond a reasonable doubt.
In other stories, parliamentary representative of the Roseau Central constituency, Honorable Norris Brevo, says that the United Workers' Party is ready for general elections.
The United Workers' Party now has 19 confirmed candidates in place. In the Roseau Central, we have Mr. Joseph Isaac. In the Roseau North, we have Mr. Danny Lugie. In the Roseau South, we have Mr. Joshua Francis. In the Roseau Valley, we have Mr. Ronald Charles. In Soufriere, we have Mr. Higgs Adams. In Grand Bay, we have Mr. James Alexander, former principal of the Grand Bay Government School. In Petit-Savan, we have the Honorable Urban Baron, a parliamentarian of 20 years service who used to serve with the Labour Party, did not go back for the Labour Party last election, and now wants to come to help us rescue Dominica. In La Plaine, we have the Honorable Ron Green. In Grandford, we have Dr. Thompson Fontaine. In Castle-Bruce, we have Mr. Isaac Baptist. In Maho, we have Mr. Ronnie Isidore. In St. Joseph, we have Miss Monel Williams. In Salisbury, we have the Honorable Hector John. In Collyho, we have former Inspector Nicholas George. In Portsmouth, we have Mr. Jefferson James, Mr. Jeff James. In Paybush, we have Mrs. Unica Anthony Victor, a lawyer who now practices in Antigua, a Dominican lawyer who has worked in Dominica, who practices in Antigua, and is coming back here to rescue her country. In Wesley, we have Mr. Ezekiel Basil, and in Kalinago Territory, we have our deputy political leader, Mr. Claudia Sanford, and in Marigot, political leader, Lennox Linton.
He noted the party has discussed a number of developmental proposals, including housing, tourism, education, infrastructure, and agriculture, demonstrating their commitment to the development of Dominica.
United Workers' Party had a major workshop on the revitalization and development of the essential oils industry. We had a major expert here, Dr. Shah, from the commercial and scientific aspects of essential oil development, who had a major workshop here with people interested in the essential oil industry. And the essential oils is one of the areas of agriculture development that we know Dominica can thrive in. We already were in Bay Oil, and we will continue to develop. United Workers' Party is ready for elections whenever Mrs. Skerritt decides to call it.
Mr. Prevost also put to bed an allegation that the candidate for the Roseau Valley, Mr. Ronald Charles, sought to pull out as a candidate due to lack of financial support from the party.
Our 19 candidates are fully committed. None of our candidates were bought. None of them came in there for a package, like the Labour Party people tend to have to come in for a package. So there is no question of any of our candidates, pulling out because party doesn't have financial support for them. Let me just say to you, our people around our candidates have been raising the resources. It is people resources that is driving this campaign. And in every constituency, people are raising resources to drive the candidates forward and to drive the party forward.
General elections are constitutionally due in 2015. In other news, on Saturday, 29th March 2014, Mr. Christopher Willis, managing partner of Henley Partners Caribbean Limited, based in St. Kitts, handed over US $20,000 to Mr. Cheyenne Monell, current president of WHALE, Whitey Kubuli Entrepreneurs Levy. This significant contribution supports the development of the next generation of Dominican entrepreneurs via the oversubscribed WHALE Annual Retreat Program. At the first Reconnect session for 2014, Mr. Willis, WHALE's platinum sponsor, met with a variety of Dominican entrepreneurs, both with established businesses and budding ideas, and was impressed by the level of engagement and collaboration he witnessed. This annual retreat provides emerging Dominican entrepreneurs with the opportunity to network with entrepreneurial leaders and to build skills in business development and motivational leadership. This initiative is a collaborative effort of Jungle Bay Resort and Spa, Dominica Youth Business Trust, and Invest Dominica, with support from additional individuals and corporate sponsors. To date, over 100 graduates have participated in the program. Past Well graduates include Third Wheel Beverages, 365 MMP, Nature's Caress, Westport Tavern, and Jody's Sweet Art. In more stories, in an effort to broaden discussion among public policy stakeholders, the Dominica Social Security Board, in collaboration with the Inter-American Conference on Social Security, CIS, and the Pan-American Health Organization, PAHO, hosted a seminar centered on Social Security and universal health coverage. The seminar is the second of its kind, geared towards the English-speaking Caribbean sub-region of CIS, and focuses on improvements of the social protection of the peoples of the Americas.
CIS and PAHO having signed an agreement among them to work towards the integration of health systems, intend to foster closer collaboration between the two organizations in the quest to strengthen the social protection of the peoples of our world.
Universal health coverage implies access of all people to comprehensive health services at affordable costs. However, in many nations, this has proven to be a major challenge. Mr. Juan Lozano, Secretary General of CIS, says the plan is to strengthen the network of the Social Security and to build on a Caribbean agenda.
When Social Security was originally conceived, we always thought that a good retirement and the provision of health were very important goals to be attained together in a united way. But at some point, things got split, and administrations were born in order to work on separate ways. Pensions administrations and health administration started to work separately in many places all over the world.
This seminar, he pointed out, will demonstrate the importance of the partnership between health and social security. Dr. Carissa Etienne, Director of PAHO, also contributed to the forum.
In many countries in Latin America, social security systems for decades have been active in the provision of health services. In the Britain, however, this has contributed to the fragmentation of healthcare services and the lack of equity. In many countries, in fact, this time, there are important changes and discussions that are occurring to begin to introduce the concept of the unification of health services, discussions towards rationalization, and towards the integration of the social security services and the public health services. Dominica must learn from this important lesson and ensure a unified health system where the social security contributes to the overall improvement in health care.
Honorable Julius Timothy, Minister responsible for health, noted that over the past years, research and reports have established the need for government to seek alternative means of financing for health services. This, he says, has failed to materialize.
It therefore becomes essential to mobilize multiple stakeholders outside of health to address the issues of health and health care financing, since the Ministry of Health cannot achieve this on its own. The government of Dominica spends approximately 13% of this annual recurring budget on the health care sector. In addition, many factors are today placing a considerable burden on the health budget.
This seminar is the first of a series of discussions. Akisha John Baptist of the Grand Bay Primary School has walked away with the title of Mademoiselle Francophonie 2014 during the show's second staging at the Arawak House of Culture. She outperformed 5 other contestants. Kimberly Cuffey of the Convent Preparatory took the first runner-up position and the awards for Best French Fashion Wear and Best Francophone Wear. Meanwhile, Georgiana Albert of the St. Martin Primary School placed second runner-up and was awarded Best Performing Talent. Zebedijah Maxwell of the Pioneer Preparatory received the Miss Photogenic Award, while Brené Charles of the Will Strathmore Stevens Primary received the People's Choice Award. Candace Marcel of the Dodan Primary took the award for Best French Oral Presentation. And in court news, a Kingston man who was charged with vagrancy on the State House compound has been reprimanded and discharged. Leon Richards had jumped the eastern area of the State House compound when the officer on duty shouted at him. He told the officer that he had always used that route as a shortcut to get to the other side. In court on Friday, March 28, 2014, he told Magistrate Bernard Paquette he had been employed on the State House project and had always used there as a shortcut. According to him, he was unaware that the president now resided there, and it was a restricted area. For your own safety, you must be careful, Paquette told the defendant before he was told he could leave. Meanwhile, 46-year-old Trevor Viville of Whitaker, who said he had never been given a chance to pay a fine, received 2 suspended sentences. Viville, who has 12 previous convictions for theft, added a 13th to his record when he appeared in court on Friday, 28 March 2014, and pleaded guilty to stealing a crate of empty Kubuli bottles and trespassing on the premises of CIS Enterprises in Roseau. On each charge, he was sentenced to 3 months hard labor, each suspended for 6 months. In War Court, 18 days after he appeared before a magistrate and received a 3-month suspended sentence, Marvin John of Salisbury was back before the court for theft. On 26 March 2014, John's grandmother left her home to run some errands. Upon her return, she observed that one of her bedroom windows was broken. She then observed that a gold chain with $1,000 belonging to another one of her grandsons was missing. She confronted John, who denied having any knowledge of the missing item. The grandmother then reported the matter to police, and John was taken to the Salisbury police station for questioning. While there, he told the officers that he was the one who had taken the chain, but he did not want to admit it in front of his grandmother. He said after he took it, he gave it to a guy to take to a jewelry store in town to sell, and he got $700. With that money, he paid the guy $100. He gave 2 other guys $50. He bought $100 worth of cocaine and marijuana, and he spent the rest at KFC. When the magistrate asked him whether he learned anything from his previous convictions, he replied no, basically stating that he has nothing to learn, and that as long as his eyes are open, he would see things. John was sentenced to 3 months hard labor for stealing the gold chain, and the suspended sentence was also activated. The sentences are to run consecutively. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.